Welcome, everyone. Today, we are diving deep into managing Microsoft Entra ID, specifically focusing on the core attributes that define our identities, user and group properties. Let's get started. Let us begin by understanding what Microsoft Entra ID properties are. As you can see in our first bullet, Entra ID is Microsoft's cloud-based IAM service. At the heart of this system are the objects we manage daily, users and groups. But why do we care about their properties? Our third point highlights that properties are the metadata that define an identity. They govern what a user can access and establish our security boundaries. How do we handle them? We manage these properties centrally, which drastically reduces our administrative overhead. Finally, diving deeper into the concept, an object's properties literally dictate its lifecycle in the cloud. The values you set for a user or group property will drive automated processes like dynamic group memberships and role-based access control. Looking at this flowchart, we see Microsoft Entra ID sitting at the top as our core directory. From there, it branches into our two primary entities, user objects and group objects. Notice how both of these entities flow directly into their respective properties nodes. This visualizes that an object is essentially defined by its properties. Both user and group properties then converge into identity and access. This means that the data you input, like a department name or a job title, directly influences how access is granted. Ultimately, this all leads down to security and governance, showing that accurate property management is the foundation of a secure environment. Moving to slide 2, let us explore the core user account properties. What are they? They are the essential data fields that identify a user. Looking at the identity bullet, this includes the user principal name, display name, and the user type, which determines if they are a member of the organization or a guest. Next is job information. Here, we capture organizational details like job title and department. This data is crucial for automated processes later on. Our fourth point covers contact information, where we store emails and phone numbers. Lastly, we have settings. A vital property here is the usage location. Without setting a usage location, you cannot assign a license to a user due to regional legal requirements. This mind map breaks down the user profile into its 4 major property categories. At the center, we have the user profile itself. Branching out to the top right, we see the identity branch, which holds the UPN, display name, and user type. Down to the bottom right is job info, holding the title and department. On the bottom left, contact info branches out to email and phone. Finally, on the top left, the settings branch highlights the usage location. As an administrator, when you open a user profile in the Azure portal, these are exactly the tabs and fields you will navigate through to update a user's core attributes. On slide 3, we transition from basic identity fields to advanced user properties and associations. What are these? These are the properties defining a user's access rights and security posture. Our second point highlights assigned roles. This property view displays all active or eligible administrative roles assigned to the user. Next, the licenses property shows exactly which products the user is entitled to use. The fourth bullet points out devices and applications. Tracking these properties allows you to see the exact hardware tied to the user and the enterprise apps they are consuming. Finally, we have authentication methods. This is a critical security property where administrators can manage MFA contact details or force a user to re-register their authentication methods if a device is lost. Let's walk through this relationship diagram. The user account is at the center of our administrative universe. From the user account, we draw connections to 4 distinct advanced property areas. To the top right, it links to assigned roles, which in turn grants specific privileges. Below that, it links directly to licenses, dictating product access. To the bottom left, it connects to devices and apps, showing hardware and software associations. And to the top left, it connects to authentication methods, which flows directly into MFA registration. This illustrates that managing a user is not just about changing their name, it is about managing their entire security and access footprint. Slide 4 introduces us to group properties. What is a group in Entra ID? It is a logical container used to streamline access management. Looking at the group types bullet, we have 2 main property values here, security groups, which secure objects, and Microsoft 365 groups, which are used for collaboration like shared mailboxes. Why use them? Assigning permissions to a group rather than individuals drastically reduces our administrative overhead. Next, look at membership types. A group's membership property can be assigned manually or set to dynamic user or dynamic device. As our deep dive points out, modifying these properties like changing from assigned to dynamic fundamentally alters how the system manages those members, instantly replacing manual entries with rule-based evaluations. This tree diagram perfectly classifies how group properties are structured. Starting at the top with Entra ID groups, we split into our two core group types, security groups on the left and Microsoft 365 groups on the right. Now, observe the membership type properties branching out below them. Security groups can be assigned, dynamic user, or dynamic device. Meanwhile, Microsoft 365 groups can be assigned or dynamic user, but notice they do not support dynamic device memberships. This visual clearly maps out the architectural constraints and options you have when configuring group properties. Let's focus on two specific, highly important group properties on Slide 5, members and owners. What are they? They are the attributes defining who controls the group and who is in it. As our second point states, the owners property designates users who can modify the group's settings and add or remove people. The members property simply lists all current entities within that group. How do we manage this? You can modify these directly in the Azure portal by clicking on the group and accessing the Manage blade. Diving deeper into our final point, there is also a Group Memberships property. This is vital because it reveals nested groups, showing you exactly which other security groups your group is a member of, which directly impacts permission inheritance. In this flowchart, we visualize the chain of command and inheritance based on group properties. At the top, the group owner has the authority to modify properties of the security group. Inside that security group, the members property dictates that it contains member users and member devices. Now, look to the right. Our security group is nested in a parent security group. Because of this nested group property, all the members in our initial group automatically inherit the RBC permissions assigned to the parent group. This highlights why auditing group membership properties is critical for security. Slide 6 takes us into a deep dive on dynamic group membership rules. What is this? It is a membership type property that automatically manages group members based on attribute queries. For the basics, it uses an expression builder. For example, if a user's job title property equals Azure Administrator, they are automatically added. Why do we use this? It completely eliminates manual processing. As HR updates a user's properties, their access is instantly granted or revoked. When can you use this? You must remember that enabling this property requires a premium P1 or P2 license. How is it safely deployed? Azure provides a validation tool where administrators can test the dynamic rules against specific users to ensure the property mapping works perfectly before saving the rule. This sequence diagram illustrates the automated lifecycle of a dynamic group. It starts on the left with the HR system. HR updates a user's department property to IT. This change is immediately detected by the user property object in Entra ID. The system then passes this data to the dynamic rule engine. The engine evaluates its logic checking if the user's department equals IT. Since the condition is met, the engine signals the Entra group. Finally, the group automatically adds the user as a member. No IT help desk tickets, no manual clicks, just seamless, property-driven automation. On Slide 7, we address how to manage properties at an enterprise scale using bulk operations. What is this? It is the ability to update multiple user or group properties simultaneously. Why is this necessary? Because manually clicking through thousands of users is highly inefficient and prone to error. How do we do it? In the Azure portal, you can select Bulk Update, download a CSV template, edit the user properties in Excel, and upload the file back into Azure. Alternatively, as our fourth point shows, you can utilize PowerShell scripts to programmatically change these properties. Diving deeper, once you submit a bulk CSV upload, you can track the exact status of the job under the bulk operation results blade in the portal to verify that every property updated successfully. Let's trace the bulk update process in this flowchart. The admin initiates the workflow by downloading a CSV template from Entra ID. The admin then edits the required properties like job titles or usage locations using Excel. Next, they upload the CSV back into Entra ID. The system enters a processing phase. If everything is formatted correctly, it flows to success, and the properties are updated. If there are formatting issues or missing mandatory fields, it flows to errors. The admin must then check the bulk operation results blade, identify the failures, correct the CSV, and retry the upload. In our final slide, we tie everything together, properties in action for governance. What does this mean? It means using user and group properties to enforce administrative boundaries. Our second bullet introduces administrative units, or AUs. AUs are logical containers that group users based on their property data, like their region. Why use AUs? Because they allow us to delegate administrative control over very specific subsets of users. Looking at the basics, if the country property for 100 users is South Africa, we can place them in a South Africa AU. We can then assign a local helpdesk admin who only has the power to reset passwords for those specific users. Diving deep, leveraging properties to build AUs enforces the principle of least privilege and drastically reduces the risk of global administrative errors. This final flowchart beautifully illustrates the power of property-based governance using administrative units. At the top is the entire Entra ID tenant. It is split into two administrative units, North America and South Africa. For the North America AU, we assign a specific NA helpdesk admin. Their management scope is strictly limited to managing users who have their region property set to NA. Conversely, the SA helpdesk admin can only manage users with the SA region property. Neither admin can cross over and modify users outside their AU. This proves that accurate user properties are the ultimate enablers of secure, delegated administration.